Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Teacher's Lounge. Hello, Christopher.
Woohoo! Hi, what's up, everybody?
Dude, it's just you and I today. We're like the ladies from The View, just on the same couch.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
and for anyone that doesn't know, my name is Chris Dunham. I'm a seventh grade math teacher and stand-up comic.
My name is Matt Jones. I am a mostly seventh grade drama teacher and also stand-up comedian as well.
Yep. And so it's just gonna be us two, but hopefully we can tag team this.
Fist bump it.
Yeah.
Yeah, our co-host Zoe Johnson is also a part of the show. He's not here today, but Chris and I are just going to be sitting here sharing our hot takes.
Yeah.
Like we're on The View talking about the controversial things happening inside the classroom.
So how's your past couple days been?
My past couple days have been pretty good, man, because we're actually recording this on the weekend right now. So this was not a live episode, but I've had a few days to decompress, and I am literally 3 weeks away from being done with college and almost getting my teaching credential.
Yeah, you
So
are.
my stress is just cutting in half. I feel like a kid again in a weird way. I was starting to feel like I'm 94.
School's out for
summer.
some
Dude,
look in your eyes with that too.
I know, right?
Passion just
I
You know what it reminded me of? That Matthew McConaughey. You ever see the
Dazed and
meme?
Confused?
No, where it's like he's chain smoking and just have you ever seen that meme? And
I have seen that meme.
And people put different things to it. That's what your eyes look like.
100%, dude. The elation that you get when you're almost done getting your teaching credential and also when it's summer for teachers, dude, it's the best thing ever. So we complain a lot about being teachers, right? But at the same time, the feeling that you get from having a summer break, you get to re-experience being a kid again. Because as the kids are getting out for summer, so are the teachers.
Yep.
And that is a really cool feeling.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
it's kind of like, and I'll link it to living in Los Angeles, right? And living in Los Angeles, you don't experience the same seasons as everybody. It's just like
Summer.
spring and summer, right? All the time. And well, you could just live in that. Well, the great thing about being a teacher is that on some level, you're still a kid for the rest of your career because you get to experience not only all the breaks, dude, but like all the holidays and stuff like that, right? Of like, hey, it's Halloween, it's Christmas, it's Thanksgiving, or whatever.
Yeah, well, I had a joke in my stand-up about how, like, the reason why nobody in LA acts their age is because there's no winters. So whatever age you move here, you stay the same age.
So whatever.
So if you move here when you're 24, you could be like 89, but you're still like going clubbing.
That's a good point. And you know what? Whatever grade you teach, you're that age.
You're that age. That's what I
Forever.
heard somebody say. You're that age. So we're seventh graders.
Yeah.
Pound it, Limp Biscuit for
But I
life.
think I'm going down to sixth grade next year.
Oh, okay.
So
I don't remember sixth grade. Do you?
sixth grade was one of my favorite years of school. I would rather teach sixth graders than seventh graders or eighth graders anytime.
I would have said that last year because the sixth graders last year, but this year it's tough.
Oh,
this
really?
year I'm teaching a lot of sixth grade classes. It's definitely tough. I do feel like a little bit like I'm coaching daycare or something. You want to go to our first comment though?
Well, let me say something. My past couple days.
Yeah, I want to hear about you.
So it's really simple. So my buddies and I, we go to our friend's house once a month to watch the UFC pay-per-view event, right?
Yeah, you're a UFC head.
Well, no, not really. I barely know any of I don't even remember the fights that I've watched in the past.
Yeah.
I'm there mostly just to hang out and eat food and all that.
You're like rooting for Red Trunks, go.
Red Trunk, I'm the closest thing to that. And does this guy, is he ground and pound? But the cool thing is that with my friends, we'd always, we wouldn't be doing anything on a Saturday afternoon or morning or afternoon. And then I'd pick them up and we'd drive to a friend's house. And then one of us decided, hey, why don't we just start doing things in and around Los Angeles? So now the once a month, we do something that maybe we haven't done in a long time. So this weekend we went to yesterday we went to the Getty. And
Did you have fun?
Oh my God. I love the Getty, man.
Explain to people out there what the Getty might actually be who they've
the
never
Getty
been to
is,
LA.
The two major museums in Los Angeles are LACMA and the Getty. And the Getty, the location is just incredible. Now there was a fog kind of cover or whatever, so we couldn't really see out to the ocean and stuff like that. but the views are incredible. It doesn't, you feel like you're out of LA, right? Like you're in another world. And one of our friends couldn't make it, so it was just me and another buddy. And he's so cool that like as soon as we got in there, it was like, all right, you have your phone, I have my phone, we'll just communicate, you know? And then we
Mhm.
just kind of did our own thing in the Getty and then met up at a time to eat. And then we uh, did one of the last exhibits and then went up to the buddy's place.
Cool.
So,
Cool.
and I love the reason why I'm mentioning why I love museums is because I feel like I get to time travel. And one of the things that's very interesting, I don't know if it's the education part of my brain, but the subjects of the paintings. Now, granted, I'm not looking at all of humanity's art, right? But the subjects of paintings, how much they change over time through the time periods. So when you get in there and you're looking at stuff from the 1500s and all that, it's all religious,
All of it, dude. All of it.
all of it. And
All
then
of it.
then there's a shift from we're going to go from it's like how many different artists can paint John the Baptist to now we're painting kings and queens, right? Or instead of having a relief or a stained glass of like you know Jesus or whatever, the person who paid to have the stained glass made works themselves into the stained glass, and then you see a shift over time over the years of like now we're into lands.
Postmodernism and
Well, no, not even there, man. Of like the late 1700s, early 1800s of now we're doing landscapes. Now we're painting apples realistically, you know, or whatever. And then what's really cool, dude, to me, is a social consciousness. Actually, you could see it starting to show up in the paintings. So you think about it and you
you
go,
can actually see the trajectory of people's thinking changing.
yeah, because there was a painting and I was like, "Oh my god," it was in the mid 1800s, I think. And what it was is you see in the background rich people getting into like a coach, right? But in the foreground, you see someone with crutches and one of their legs is missing. Well, if you know that time period, what the guy was actually communicating was that was a war veteran
Of
and the
course.
difference between the two. And I then you know, to me that is just so interesting because you go, wow, it's also because the freedom to paint. You think about it, who would even buy paintings in the 1500s? Extremely rich people in the church. So that's the only time you could get a
So that's
gig.
you're basically commissioning a piece for them,
Yep.
basically.
And then it went to
So
rich people just going, I want you to paint me. There, and then it switches to like at a time period of like, yo, you're actually painting the woman who washes the dishes of the rich guy. And
dude, but there's something sorry,
Yeah.
this just to go off your thing, there's something so hysterical about rich people asking to be painting because it's in the museum, but literally is the equivalent of like a girl doing a duck face selfie. It was like somebody that was so vain taking
Yep.
Snapchats, but
Oh.
it's just a painting.
And-
And,
and-
now it's in a
and
museum.
then the color and some of the dress that they're wearing at the time is so
Uh-huh.
pompous. And you
Of
just,
course.
because they just needed to feel.
To feel like I'm important. Yeah.
So they would just paint
100%.
the best painters at that time. But you go, yeah, that makes sense because you got to pay your bills. The king is not going to buy a painting of the woman who washes his clothes. There's no market for that. And the person who washes the clothes isn't going to have the money, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, I think it's just so interesting. How the subject of the painting changes over time. Then you get people like Banksy, right? That have like a
100%.
social consciousness to even more.
He
of a
actually
degree.
revealed himself recently. It's kind of it felt like,
Really?
you know, every like Batman taking off his mask. Yeah, I can't remember how long ago it was, but Banksy, I'm pretty sure revealed himself. Or I had a dream that he
Oh,
did, and I believed the dream.
no,
But
you know
I
what?
think that he actually
Someone
did.
did it was in a journalist that they went and found because he had changed his name and all this kind of stuff.
So they actually unveiled him, though, right?
Yeah.
Which is crazy because I'm like, how is he not in jail?
I know.
You know, but I mean, he's done so many. It's so great that whenever you're so good at something, you know what I mean? You could have done all this like stuff and you vandalized so many buildings, but it's also like, yeah, but you're pretty good though. We'll let you
But,
go. With like
yeah,
a
well,
slap on the wrist.
But it's Banksy. So if you go and arrest him, then you're saying that you're actually like then you're somehow supporting the things that he's showing. He's trying to not uncover, but put a spotlight on. whether it's
Yes, but
injustice.
they could get it through technicality though, because it's like no
100%.
matter what, you know what I mean? Like you can always come up with your
People would
whole
be
thing.
rioting. Now, I don't know if they'd be rioting in the street, but
I don't think they would.
But you would show that you're just an oppressive government by doing it. So you kind of just have to let it go. But you're right.
Yeah,
It's because you're so
maybe so.
good as an artist.
You're so good. It's the same reason why, you know, like people keep buying Kanye albums or keep going to Kanye shows. It's like because he's so good at what he
He's
does.
a little different than Kanye.
I don't know, man.
What?
Kanye makes some great beats. I'm just saying they might be, you know.
No. Oh my God.
I'm talking about beats specifically. Specifically beats,
Those
you
are
know.
two very, very different personalities.
Slightly facetious, but what I'm saying is like when you are so good at something, people will give you a little bit of a pass.
That I agree with. Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to make the comparison of.
Thanks.
Of course, I'm
you
being
know
a little
that
facetious.
Hitler guy.
Yeah, the Hitler guy did some good beats, you know.
All right, let's go to
Yeah.
a comment.
All right, I work with one of those teachers who literally says, "I love my job," and then a couple vomiting emojis. The reason why that comment was so funny, it was talking about on a video of certain teachers who will not admit what is going on in the classroom. Like you can be like, yeah, I'm like feeling pretty burnt out. And someone will be like, well, what do you mean? And then it's like, I mean, you know, like some of the kids are and everything. No, I love my job. It's like those teachers are very, very, very nauseating, I feel. Not the ones who are trying to be positive and enjoy their job, but the ones who cannot admit their challenges. It's almost kind of like they're sort of like working for the Death Star in Star Wars.
Yeah, those kind of people, you just go, oh, okay, and then you just never talk to them because you have an inability to be honest.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's an inability to be honest. And I think a lot of people have been shocked by some of our videos because we're just being honest. We're not saying anything that crazy.
No.
Minus the Banksy comment, you know. But like, for the most part, we're not saying anything that is that controversial, really. We're just talking about teaching in the classroom. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and some people could misconstrue what we're saying as being unprofessional or negative. And I go, but we're talking about the things that also need to change because we know that kids growing up in that environment with no consequences for their behavior or their academics and they just get passed through to the next is not good for them or society.
It's not good for the kids. It's not good for society.
And it's not good for the teachers or anybody else.
And it's kind of that 1950s mentality, like smile, like your Ovaltine is here. You know what I mean? It's like shut up and dribble.
That's what it is.
That's what it is.
It's
Shut up and dribble.
I don't. I've never seen it, but is it the Stepford Wives where everyone is just smiling?
Everyone's just fine. You know.
Yeah.
It's like that old. It's like that old image of kind of like a Betty Crocker housewife that's got like lipstick on and she's really unhappy, but she's just like sweeping and she's like, I love just staying at home and not voting. You know. And then people like if she actually talked about what she felt during that time period, people would be like, why are you doing that? All we're trying to do is talk about why so many teachers are quitting
or not going into the profession.
Yeah, why there's a shortage. It's like, do you want to address the problem or do you not want to? It's like if there is a leak on a ship, you know, it doesn't fix it if you just stick your finger in it. You know, you actually have to do something.
Exists before I got there, and then I stand there and actually point out that there's a puddle.
Then get gaslit.
Then I'm the one in the wrong for pointing out the puddle.
100%. And people are like, well, go into a different job then. It's like being hired to work at an office and then you go in and there's literally elephant poop smeared all over the walls and you're like, hey, can we get this cleaned up?
I think the people that say that go into a different job on some level are the same people that that would say like, well, if you don't like the country, then leave.
Yeah, it's like I don't have the money to go to Japan.
Yeah.
Let alone buy a passport.
It's
Or like whatever.
Stop complaining. That's how things get better, guys.
Yeah, here's the thing. We should address that. The difference between complaining and talking about how there's an issue. Imagine that if you had a leak in the roof of your apartment and you're like, hey, there's a leak. And then maintenance was like, why are you complaining? And it's like, well, there's a leak right there. Can you like fix it? And then it's like, no. So what do you do then? Do you just be like, all right, I guess I'm just going to be grateful that I have a roof over my head? Or do you start like broadcasting like, hey, I'm living in this apartment where there's a leak and the maintenance isn't fixing? That's not really normal.
And you know what ends up happening too?
Yeah.
If you don't fix that leak, what comes after that?
Mold. Yep. And then what happens to your lungs?
There you go.
And you don't even have the capacity to complain because
Guys,
you
all
can't
we're
speak.
pointing out now is the mold.
That's it. There's a lot of mold in classrooms. This is a podcast to
Yeah.
advocate for mold being removed in
All right,
classrooms.
let's go to the
You
next
know,
one.
we'll do the next one. Ooh, this is a Tolstoy novel.
I got my glasses, so if
You
you
got your
want, I can
glasses?
read it.
Okay, cover up one eye and see if you can.
I
Okay,
love our
see if
producer.
you can.
I actually don't need
Yeah,
elementary art teacher here. Teach second through fifth, year 11 teaching, and I'm so over it. I absolutely hate to say I've grown to hate what I do, but most days I hate what I do. All I ever wanted to do was teach, but there is no way you could ever convince me to stay in the classroom till retirement with the way things are going. I wouldn't make it to 42 years old and have started having chest pains on particularly stressful days. By the way, real quick, that's happened to me before. At this
Me too.
point, I'd rather spend my days scrubbing public toilets. Bad behavior is out of control. There's zero respect for others, no manners. Rules are now optional, apparently. Consequences don't matter. And the apathy and learned helplessness from such young students is unbelievable. It's just a horrible, sad situation all around.
Amen.
Yeah.
That is a great novel. No, seriously, that's a great comment.
Learned helplessness.
You know what's interesting, dude? I would like to hear your take on learned help. Oh my gosh, I'm looking at that picture.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
Learned helplessness is it's definitely a thing in the classroom, but like that chest pain thing, I want to acknowledge that for a second. That is real, dude. When I was the end of the year this year, when I was doing the play with the middle schoolers after school, I was in college full time and teaching full time. I was so stressed out. There was one night, like my cortisol levels were just spiked. They were through the roof. And I was like, I'm going to go for a run just to try to chill myself out because I had this natural adrenaline that I couldn't shake. I went for a run and I like sat down because I couldn't breathe. I thought I was having a heart attack.
Oh.
And then I thought I was having a panic attack. But then I got up to start walking and my chest was hurting so bad that I had to keep taking breaks as I was walking. I was like, this is not normal for me, you know, still being in my 30s.
Yeah.
And then I called Kaiser the next day and I went to go get a stress test. And everything with my heart was normal, but they're just like, you're just under a tremendous amount of stress if that's happening. And so that chest pain
Teaching's an
thing,
easy job. Why do you have any?
I hate it when people say that. When people are like, you work 180 days, you sound like such a baby. It's like, yeah, but every day feels like 180 days.
Yeah, it would be an easy job if there actually were consequences for behavior and grades mattered.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would be.
You are in control of massive amounts of people where there are no consequences.
Yep.
We're prison security guards without handcuffs
Yeah.
or
would
pepper spray.
100%. I would also too. It's like for the most, with that, when they talk about the learned helplessness, the
Mhm.
apathy and the learned helplessness. Imagine being in a classroom, 25 kids, and 20 of them will not even crack their book. They
Or
have
40
books.
if you're electives.
They have books. They have pencils. They're awake. And there's nothing you could do. When you call home, behavior doesn't change. And there's nothing you can do at school to force them to open up the book.
Yeah, and
at
not
all.
even that. You're implying that they're at their desks. You're not even. I did a teacher talk this week about how we need to put seat belts in the desk to make kids like sit still. Like it's like a Clockwork Orange to where it's just like the eyes are held open and then like a seat belt. So they have to watch what you're teaching. But it's like, honestly, man, that's implying that they're actually sitting at their desk.
Yes.
How many times do you have to ask a kid to sit still or to sit down or to stop getting up and moving around and all these different things? So it's like you're dealing with bad attention spans while trying to get them to focus on a singular thing, which is almost impossible.
Yeah, and what's also amazing too is how the the tale of two cities, the tale of two classrooms
Mhm.
is how you could be at the same school, walk into one classroom and it's Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Then you walk into, say, the honors class and everyone is quiet, they're focused. Same school.
And that teacher gets credit for being brilliant.
I
When
know.
the kids are just really well behaved
They're well
in
behaved
the honors
because
classes.
and most of the time it usually starts at home, right? And then the kid comes in, they're ready to learn. If all you have to do is call home if they act up and the behavior changes. Where in the other classroom, you ever hear a kid, they'll be like, call home, mister, because it doesn't matter.
Dude, I was at a Food for Less and I was buying spinach. and there was a kid, it was probably 11:30 at night, and there was like a 2-year-old running around and just running and grabbing fruit and like throwing it on the ground. And the parent wasn't reprimanding
He's
them at all.
exploring his space.
Yeah, it's also 11:30 at night.
I'm
Like,
no, I'm
what's
yeah,
that kid
yeah.
doing? Like, what are you doing at Food for Less at 11:30 at night with the kid? And here's the thing, I don't know the circumstance, so maybe there's a good reason for it. But regardless, the kid is throwing food on the floor and you're not correcting them. Well, a lot of social psychologists say your personality is formed by like age 5. So if there are no boundaries with your kid whatsoever, like let's just say 0 to 5, and you just let them throw stuff on the floor, that's what you're dealing with in the classroom, is somebody who is not corrected at all sometimes. And you're watching kids just go nuts in your classroom and do that. And when you tell them no, they're looking at you like you're speaking a foreign language, or like you're taking something from them, like you're taking their dignity from them by telling them that they can't act that way
Yeah.
in your classroom. To you, you were officially the bad guy because they haven't been told that before. They haven't had boundaries in
You're
their
doing the
entire life.
complete opposite of what they can do at home.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
And so,
and it's like to go back to this learned helplessness. It's I cannot wait to see these same kids actually get a job, like an entry level job somewhere.
even at
right?
McDonald's.
Yeah, McDonald's, whatever it is, and just stand there. No one's because no one's told me how to do this. So you're just gonna stand there the whole time?
And there's going to be so many kids that are like that because of the lack of consequences in school. The customer service is going to be trash in 20 years. I asked for a napkin one time at like a deli, and I remember the guy was like, and went and got one. Like, he looked at me like I just slapped his grandmother.
So funny that you say that.
That's what
Yeah.
customer service is going to be like in years. Yelp is going to be out of business because everything's going to be 1 star,
Well,
and no one will know how to write a review.
that same thing of
So-
like, oh, whatever. There's a Home Depot that's really close to the school I work at, and I can tell that like kids that probably went to the school I teach at,
Mhm.
they're the same neighborhood kids that they get there. You go into that, and the Yelp reviews on that Home Depot.
I'm just already laughing. Yelp review and Home Depot.
Oh my god! Because I went in there, I walked out, and I go, that can't be the worst experience I've ever had. Like at in any for customer service, and I went, it can't be this bad. This is just this is my experience one time, and then I went and looked at the Yelp reviews, and there's just page after page of the same thing,
Uh-huh.
and you go, oh my god, they can't even fire the person that's horrible because there's literally nobody else to even come in to do the job. So then
Yeah.
now you're just walking around, and it's like you're like, hey, sorry, because I don't know about you. When I go up to customer service, I always go, hey, sorry to bother you. You know, I need like, hey, I'm at Home Depot. I really need to get this key made. Who do I need to see about it? You know, you go there and they're like, oh, that's the same thing.
Same thing.
Just like you might
simple
as well
thing.
stomp their feet, and you're like, do we need to call home?
I get it if somebody's rude and be like, hello, I'm looking to get a key made, and they're
Yeah.
just being obnoxious. But if it's like, hey, excuse me, do you know where I go to get this key made? And then they're acting like that, that's just an entitled person who's never had any adversity.
Yeah, dude. I don't know about you.
And they also probably hate their job because it's Home Depot.
I've
but still.
pretty much always worked
Same since 16.
customer service jobs. So I know that, you know, on some level, I have to be professional enough, you know, even if I think it's a dumb question or whatever. But that's also like your job is literally to help people that probably don't really go into Home Depot. Because the people that look like, you know, come in and they got the painter's pants on and all that,
Those
they
people
know
know where
where
to go.
everything is.
That's like Toys R Us for a kid.
Yeah.
You know, they know where everything
But the
is.
guy that looks like me, that's
Yeah,
right?
that knows nothing. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're like, what's a screwdriver? And they're like, oh, those are hammers, sir.
Yeah, it doesn't know he looks like it doesn't know the difference between a Phillips and a flathead.
Yeah. That's just regular man stuff.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Am I right? Yeah. Man stuff.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next one.
Okay. This is from Elena Gray. Hopefully I said your name right, Elena. I had a student shove me into the wall when I was closing the door. I was behind it and they just kept pushing as I was trying to get out. How these kids are acting is exactly how mine acted, laughing. Not a single one yelled for them to stop. I was the crazy person for losing my mind. I took every fiber of my being not to lose my job. This sounds like the kids in these classrooms it's like a saw trap. You know
Yep.
what I mean? A student was shoving you into the wall when I was closing the door. I was behind it and they just kept pushing as I was trying to get out.
Oh, so she was trapped in between the wall and the door, it sounds
Yeah,
like.
that's what I say. It's like
Yeah.
saw
Oh
trap.
my God.
Yeah. And then they just kept pushing. How these kids are, it is really weird. I will say that there have been
Well,
moments in
Elena, what did
school-
you do? Did you not build a relationship?
Did you not build a relationship?
You should probably institute some PBIS.
You don't know what that child is going through.
Yeah.
You know, so you need to sit down and you need to be able to find out where his trauma is and how maybe he's crying out for help and acting in violent ways.
Yep. Do you think that maybe you need the therapy because you were the one that was standing there taking it?
Right. And the thing is we just have to be helpful on here. And we never want to blame the student. It is never the student's fault. I hate it when people say that. It's like, yeah, it's definitely your kid's fault sometimes.
Dude,
Like-
anyone, dude, it's like, I can't explain the lack of, sometimes I wonder, I go, is that the difference between right wing and left wing? Is just like, sometimes I feel I'm like, am I turning into like this right wing person just by saying personal responsibility or accountability? Because it's like, that seems to me like a normal thing that is neither right nor left.
It shouldn't be, but different parties, they monopolize different things. It's like, if you like guns, come over here. It's like, if you like this, come over here. If you like that, come over here. And then it's so silly. But when you say personal responsibility, people automatically think that you drive like a 4x4.
Yeah, because when you say like, because you're not wrong, dude, when you say like, it's never the child, there is a huge subset of people in public education that never put any responsibility on the child whatsoever.
It's definitely the kid's fault
And
a
I
lot
go,
of times.
Do I sound like a crazy person for saying that? Like, it's like that to think that, I don't know, that maybe a kid should have some, you know? I don't know, man. It's
Well, dude, if you just don't discipline a kid, it's like if they're living in a boundaryless way, then that's not going to resolve itself when you get older. Dude, we all had that friend. We talked about this last week, but we all had that friend who would regularly say to their parents, like, shut up, mom, shut up, dad. And their parents would just put up with it. Dude, if I would have done that, my dad, I don't even want to think, my dad would have destroyed me if I would have told my mom, shut up. You know, I never talked to my parents that way.
I talked back to my mom once. Like, I'm like that guy in Johnny Dangerously. Once.
She took off her shoe and hit you in the head with it?
No. When my 6'2", 230-pound father got home, he made sure it was the last time. And guess what? He was 100%
right. He made sure it was the last time.
Yep.
But these kids, though, dude, like the fact that she's talking about that, like the way like certain kids act. I have walked out of classroom and a kid will be standing in front of my door.
Yeah.
And I open the door up and I hear like, and then I'm like, I look out and then the kid will just be like, it's like, dude, you're standing in front of a door.
Yep.
Have you had that happen before? Or you go out
All
of the
the
bathroom
time.
and there's just a kid that's like eating Cheetos in front of, you're standing right in front of a door and they look at me and they'll be like, ow. And I'm like, you realize you're in front of a door, right?
You've made it to 7th, 8th grade. That is not the first time that you stood in front of a door and then the door opened on you.
It's like Sideshow Bob. Remember when he just keeps stepping on the rake and it's like hitting him in the head? It's making the same mistake again. It boggles my mind.
Because they have no ability to think about the past. Like it's some weird abstract thing. There's no such thing as the future. So they're just living in this weird like present
they're in
moment.
the sunken place.
Like where there's, yeah, like how could that even happen that a door would open up?
Yeah, it's so wild to me. That's so funny that as soon as I said that, you started nodding your head. You knew exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah.
That's like the teacher thing. A big part of teaching is opening the door while students are standing in front of it and them getting
Well,
hit.
why wasn't your door open to begin with? You should have been blah, blah, blah.
And a kid could just take that and run with it. That's why you need a union. It's like, where'd you get that big bruise from? It's like, Mr. Jones. It's like, Mr. Jones did that? And it's like, yeah, I opened the door and he was standing there. Like I did it. Yeah, you almost have to crack it like there are zombies outside. You know what I mean? And just slowly open like,
Yeah, it's a great way to say it.
you know? Let's go to the next
Let's-
comment.
yeah.
And we'll see what else we got going right here. You want this one?
Yeah, this has to be the worst teacher appreciation week I've ever had in my 31 years in the educational field. My principal has never been supportive, and now he pretends that he appreciates us only this week out of the whole school year. Not a single thank you or gift from my students. This generation is all about receiving, but they don't give it all. How sad. Feel free to say this on your next podcast. Yeah, and I cut it out because it was a
Yeah.
personal message.
Personal
Anytime
message.
somebody sends a personal message, I know that they kind of probably want to keep it. So,
100%. Yeah.
but yeah, depending on what school you're at, Teacher Appreciation Week will look very different.
It's a lot of carbs. That's
know?
how they appreciate teachers, which makes you more tired.
Well,
But it's a lot of
I mean,
carbs.
I'm just going to say it's very, very different. And I've seen the difference of it. But I would never, I don't know about you, dude. I would never, ever expect a single gift from any of my students. But I mean,
I don't either. And I have had gifts from my students, but I never expect it. It's always a surprise, honestly,
yeah.
when I get one.
Bec-
And I don't get a lot of them, but I do get
because
some.
I mean, like I did a teacher talk on it on Friday, but I go, man, if a kid gives their best and they're nice to be around, they've already given me the best gift in the world. They've
Mhm.
allowed me to help them learn, and so
Honestly, yeah, that's the best thing that a kid can do is just try. Just try and just be pleasant to be around, like you said.
yeah,
That's the only thing the teachers really want. I don't think any teacher is walking around like a celebrity being like, "Do you recognize me? Do you recognize me?" I mean, there's probably some, but it's like I don't think any teacher really expects that from their students. I think they're like, "Dude, just come into my class, try and be pleasant to be around. Like don't rip stuff up, don't mark on my tables, don't throw things, don't light some girl's hair on fire. Just chill."
And I think as far as like, when it goes to admin or whatever and teacher appreciation, it's like, how about appreciate what I do? I don't know, the other 39 weeks, and they're always so many. I get so many, we get messages too of like a teacher does everything right and the admin is still trying to just find fault with them. And you
Mhm.
go, you don't appreciate what I do. Because you would ask as a normal human being, hey, what transpired? Instead of going like, hey, what transpired with blah, blah, blah. Instead, they go on the attack. And that's the thing that makes teachers so upset because you go, then you don't appreciate what I'm doing. Because you immediately go to, okay, what was I doing wrong? Instead of, hey, what actually happened? Then we decide if I was doing something wrong or if I was doing something right. You know?
Yeah. I mean, it'd be nice to have that support. Like I said, we don't really expect a lot. It's like just maybe start with doing the same thing that they do at other jobs. If somebody broke into a telemarketing office and dumped confetti all over your telemarketer's head, you would make sure that that person never came back in the telemarketing office. Can we
Yeah.
maybe do the same thing with like teaching? And I get it, they're kids, it's school, but if the kid keeps doing it day after day, can we put them in a solitary confinement classroom, at least with like a detention? Remember detention? Like the Breakfast Club, where you just have like a detention. What do they call it? The detention teacher,
Yeah.
detention officer, whatever it is. You got sent to detention, and it was like a room. And I remember I got a lot of them because I was just always late when I was in high school, and I got so many late that I had like in-house detention all day long. And I remember I brought a book, and there was like a couple metalheads that were in there with like long hair, and it was just sitting in silence. And the person would be like, "Hey, you're in detention. Stop talking." Like, why can't we bring some of those things back? Why
Yeah.
is that so controversial and seen as like oppressive? Like, why is that?
You mean to remove the people that are causing the problems away so that other people can live their lives? Yeah,
Yes,
that's a terrible thing. Why would you want to do that?
yeah, it's like everything. You're like, well, they're not a problem. Yeah, but
And
anyways,
it's also too, with the whole principal thing, like, you know, education has become such a huge, I don't think it was this way 40 years ago, but it's all about the money.
yeah, because they need butts
They
and seats.
they care
They need
only
the students in
about
the school.
students being in the classroom. The principal's job is to not care if they learn. It's not to care because they really don't. I mean, like some of them don't, I should say, on some level. It's like, what can I, because if they really did care about the students learning, then they would do everything in their power to help the kids that want to learn.
Mhm.
But a lot of them don't. It's all just about compliance, keeping the kids there. And then you as an employee, you realize you're like, oh, I'm they view me as someone that's part of the problem. Like if you speak up and you say, hey, this and this has happened, you're part of the problem now.
Uh-huh.
Because you're
100%.
just not letting things go and allowing them to, just keep them in the seats.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Agreed.
All right,
Agreed.
next one.
Next one. What do we got right here? Okay. Parents that only ever read books in school are the ones who are advocating for no homework.
100%.
That only ever read books in school, past tense.
Yep.
That is so true. It's like you talk to this person who's 49 years old and it's like, what's your favorite book? And it's like, Where the Red Fern Grows. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're not a reader.
Yeah. And this was in response to one that I talked about, homework, right?
Uh-huh.
And I still have never met anybody that has done anything of note with their lives who didn't take on some version of homework, even in their personal life, when it came to bettering their life.
100%, dude. You look at the whole concept of personal development, and it's the idea that we live in this society now to where like everybody's enough. You're not. Like you have to become better. Like if we just told kids that, like and I get the sentiment behind it, you're enough in terms of like you have intrinsic worth and value, but just telling kids that they don't need to take this stuff home, like, you did that in school. You're basically just destroying your child by not wanting them to do any kind of learning at home. Your brain is a sponge when you're going through that age. So you should try to soak up all the information that you possibly can.
Yep.
So you actually have a shot in the world. It's like if the world is a prize fight and life is Mike Tyson, you're going to get punched out. If you don't do your jaw exercises, you're going to go to the hospital. Like your jaw exercises are homework, are reading books.
Yeah, no matter
It's-
what it is. It's like if you think about I don't know, like you want to do some kind of working out with body weight stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you have to do your homework. They even, right? Hey, you got to do your homework on it, meaning you got to go and research stuff, right? You got to find out
Mhm.
what's going to be the best thing for me to do. All these are things that you have learned along the way to take that extra step to better your life. I think that people that really advocate for no homework too are the ones that they also feel this way about everything in their life. I do my thing, I'm done. Let me go stare at a screen.
Yeah, because
And
you're a slave to dopamine.
Yeah. So,
There's-
yeah, go on.
I was just gonna say there's this verse in the Bible talking about your God being your stomach. And I'm like, dude, that is such a great metaphor. And I'm sure you can guess what that means, but it means like whatever your desires and your impulses are, you're just always trying to serve that thing. You know what I mean? Rather than actually having some kind of work ethic, in denying yourself and being like, okay, I might not like doing this, but 10 years down the road, I'm going to be glad that I did. And the thing is a kid doesn't really have that. So as a parent, you have to be able to have that, provide that kind of foresight. But the problem is like if a parent doesn't have that foresight, it's like, well,
Yeah. And that also makes me wonder, are all the people that are so anti-homework, are they the same that don't research anything before they buy it? Is everything just an impulse buy? Like, what do your finances look like? Right? Did that person see like, hey, what's the best thing for me to invest in long term that I don't have to keep track of every month? I just doubt, I highly doubt that anyone that is in the no homework is a millionaire.
oh yeah. Well, anybody that just thinks like the no homework thing, it's like, have you ever heard the quote, how you do one thing is how you do everything?
No, but
But it's like a concept,
Yeah.
and it's probably not entirely true, but it's mostly true. And the idea is just basically how you show up to small things is how you're going to show up in big things,
Yeah.
regardless of what it is. There is a sweep across the way that you do things. And if you're saying that you don't believe in homework, then it's just like you're kind of basically it's another way of outing yourself as being lazy.
Yeah, but to me, I look at it too and go, okay, well, if you're going to put in mediocre effort, then don't complain when you get mediocre results. And, they often look at the no homework. They try to cite all of these like Nordic like countries, but most of those countries are now going back to some version of homework.
Mhm.
Because what happens is in a society, this is what I was thinking about. A society has to act a certain way, no matter what you want in your life. Say you want to lose weight, right? People do this all the time. I want to lose weight. Okay, so they get the diet, they do all the workouts, then they get to the goal weight that they want to be.
Mhm.
Then they somehow get amnesia and forget all the stuff that got you to there in the first place. So then you start, well, you know what? I'm going to have instead of a cheat meal, I'm going to have a cheat day. Do you know what I mean? Then you slowly lose all those good results that you had. Those countries experienced the same thing, is that they forgot, hey, what got us to this mountaintop? But it's weird though. They'll cite those countries, forgetting now that those countries are now instituting back, but they never want to talk about the Asian countries.
Who actually
They're
have homework
yeah,
galore.
and the Asian countries, what's amazing too, is when you control for income status, right? So the United States, our PISA scores, we would go from 30th in the world to if you took away all low income people, right, taking the test from every country. So
Mhm.
now you're looking at middle class and upper class. The United States goes from 30th in the world to 5th in math and 1st in reading.
Mhm.
So, but when I was looking at that, I go, the thing that stood out to me the most, dude, was the fact that a lot of those Asian countries, it didn't matter. Even if you excluded the low income people. So what does that tell me? That even with the low income people, they are holding them to a standard of work ethic that we probably don't do in the United States. Like, dude, we work at like lower income schools, right? 20% is a D.
Mhm.
That's that right? It's called equitable grading. There's no consequences for behavior, right? Kids get passed on to the next grade. I don't think they're doing that in those other countries. So,
Yeah, interesting. Interesting. We'll go to the next one. This will be our last one, I
last
believe.
one.
Yeah. As a teacher, the only thing separating my rock star students from my prison pipeline kiddos is the fear of a phone call home.
Yeah.
Dang, that is a good one. And that was from Cows Are Cool. So yeah, as a
Cows
teacher,
are
the only thing
cool.
separating your rock star students from the prison pipeline kiddos is the fear of a phone call home. You said something one time that was really good to where you said it goes parents, teachers, cops, judge. Like
Yeah, someone told me that a long time ago, and I was like, oh my
Parents,
God.
teachers, cops, judge.
Because your parents need to
teachers,
do a good
cops,
job
judge.
so that when you don't go, so
You don't
you're-
get in trouble at school.
Yeah, the parents and the teachers are supposed to do that job so you don't see the cop
See the
and
cops,
the judge.
and if the cop does, it's supposed to do the job, so you don't see the judge. But it's really crazy because there is only so much. Now, here's the thing. A lot of times I think people hear what we say on here on this podcast and they hear us say, if you don't have good parents, you're screwed. And that's not what we're saying.
No.
Because a kid can't control that. A kid can't control whether or not they have good parents. In fact, there's a lot of parents that just, no matter how good of a parent you are, you're going to come up short. But okay, so that's like saying well, teachers need to show up and be there for kids. And that is true. And it's even more true to have consequences in education because if parents don't do their job, a kid can learn it at school. They can learn consequences at school. Now, like the way that they would learn consequences is actually having repercussions for their behavior. But if that actually happened at school, that could make up, not entirely, but it could make up for some of what the parents did not give. And they're
Yeah.
going to be defiant and everything. But if you can't even, it's just such an annoying thing that when we as teachers complain about how parents need to parent, you can't out teach bad parenting. That whenever we actually bring that up, and it's like, well, not everybody has great parents. And it's like, all right, well, let us be a great parent then
Yeah.
by putting consequences in.
Yeah.
You're not letting us parent either because you're basically what you're saying is crappy parents. Now you got to be a crappy teacher because you don't want to push that kid's button and set him off. So I have to walk on eggshells just like I would around a narcissist. You know what I mean? To be like, okay, I don't want to offend him.
Yeah, we got these
So
little
it's like
Donald Trumps running around in our classroom.
100% that think like
I'm
if
gonna
you-
do what I want, say what I want.
Yeah, it'd be like everybody says I'm the best.
Yeah.
But you try to actually correct them and do what these wine bags on social media are telling us that we should do. And it's like, yeah, we want to do that. We want to actually be able to try to parent to make up for what they're not getting at home. But like the school system won't let us.
Yeah. And anyone that thinks that you can somehow, you could, instead of consequences, can you have a lot of therapy? Of course.
Yeah.
We would say this first step, get the kid therapy.
Yeah. 100%.
100%.
I'm not qualified to be
Yeah.
their therapist.
But the issue that we run into is how much money. No one can quantify it as far as on a monetary scale of like how much money can you spend as a school system on all these different things to out teach a bad parent.
You can't really.
I know
And so that's the thing.
it's like it may happen, but the thing is the kid is still they're only with you 180 days out of the year, so it's half the year for 7 hours. Now they're only with you ready for 55 or 50 minutes out of that whole time. You go, so it's just tough.
What's amazing to me though is whenever you do meet a kid and they're having a rough time at home and things are not good, but they're still such a great kid.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it's like my heart really goes out to that kid.
Superheroes.
Yeah, those kids really are superheroes. I look at them and I'm like, dude, I could learn from you because you have figured out a way and you've seen something to where you are still a good kid when everything around you is trying to convince you not to be one.
I know, and you just want to go, hold on, kid.
100% be like,
And it
it's going to get
sucks.
so much
Oh my
better and it's
God.
terrible right now. But if you keep that same attitude and like whenever you can afford some therapy, go get some,
Yep.
you know? But my heart literally goes out to that kid,
Great.
you
man.
know? So it's like, I think that there's nothing better than a kid who somehow figures it out. It's like, holy cow, that kid's a genius
Yeah.
because the amount of things that you would have to think through to be able to
And
make
trust,
sense.
and then you have to put all your trust in other adults that aren't even your parents, that this is the right way when you've been let down by the people that brought you into the world.
And you know another thing too, so many bad parents, when we say bad parents, a lot of times, or when we talk about some of these kids, people have this cartoon image of like
Them hitting them.
some drunk dad, like from the movie Hoosiers, like, where you been, boy? And just like throwing fists, right? But really what it is it's just
Laissez-faire, just let the kids.
It's just neglect.
Yep.
It's like you meet some of the parents and they're actually nice. It's just like, they're like, he's just a kid. And then it's like, yeah, he's just a kid. Yeah, he's just a gremlin.
He's just a
Yeah, just feed him after midnight. You know, he causes some chaos, but it's like, that's just him. It's those parents that are creating the psychopaths. You know, the laissez-faire thing, as you said. So,
Yep. Well,
Yeah.
hey, everybody. First of all, before we forget, thank you so much for checking out this episode. The 2/3 episode with just Matt and myself. Thank you. Keep sending all of your comments, your likes, following us on all social media platforms. And if you don't feel comfortable posting a comment, you can always send it to us. And
absolutely.
that's actually the more likely way that we're going to see it too.
Yeah, it is. If you guys do send us a comment, sometimes we don't always check our inbox during the week because we're really busy, but like we will get around to it eventually. So if there is a comment that you want on here, send it to us. And we always cut the name out on that. In the public sphere, we don't cut the name off because there's really not a reason to, because you've posted it and we assume you're cool with it. If you're not, let us know. But otherwise you can just send it to us and we'll, cut the name off unless you want us to leave it. You got to specify that in the inbox. So,
Well, dude.
you know.
All right.
All right. Have a good teaching week, guys.
See ya.